Namaste, namaste, family of light. Baba Sharone here. And we having our light workers jumping onto our Zoom platform to be part of and add their powerful light to this transmission meditation. I do a preview and chat on Facebook Live. And there's always something to chat and talk about, especially in these times. And we've used to do that when we did meet at a physical location here in Sarasota, Florida. So we continue that tradition. It's part of, getting whatever the energy is starting and moving, which comes in very, very quickly now. Um, and an opportunity to offer the experience to those who may be interested or resonate with making this higher connection, of which we all have the capability of doing it. It is a spiritual practice. We meet every single Monday without fail, every week for over 13 years, going into its 14th year. So we work with the ascended realms of light. We're very clear in what we are aligned with and who we're aligned with. And that is something that I want to chat a little bit about is thoughts and the discernment of thoughts that comes into our minds. How can you tell what thoughts of yours, what thoughts are not yours, is coming from some other type of source that's coming into your mind? So, but before I start that, I just wanted to mention to people who may be seeing this live. I know there's a few of you that do look around this time for a live chat, but mostly most people will be seeing this later on after we this chat is done. And you are always welcome to participate in the anchoring light transmission. It's really easy to do. You would simply look on the Cosmic Center Spiritual Light Facebook page, and you'll see on the feed there the Anchoring Light transmission with Baba Sharone. That's me, my spiritual name. And once you register, that's it. Then you would be reminded every week, and you can come in at any time. Once you're registered, that's it. You're registered. So if you're not able to get in, um, for this particular anchoring light, or this comes across your feed afterwards, you'll always have the opportunity to participate. I do believe they send a reminder also when that happens. Okay. So anyway, what I want to do, and I'm going to be working with this beautiful uh, um, rose quartz crystal. As you know, rose quartz holds the vibration of unconditional love. And that is really how you are going to be able to discern thoughts that come into your mind. Because before I go into that, I want to talk a little bit about thought forms. And actually, on the 6th of June, at the Cosmic Center, at the physical location, and we also will have it on Zoom, we're going to be very focused on dismantling some very negative thought forms that are circling my planet, have been circling the planet. I mean, there's some really ancient thought forms of, separation and war and chaos and oppression and that sort of thing. So not new. It's been on the planet like almost from the beginning. We are what somebody may call a fallen world, but it's not just our world. It is the entire universe that's fallen. So that's why you have to be discerning on everything, on every level, on every level. So as you walk your spiritual practice, as you, begin to unfold in your own consciousness, your own awareness, that you become aware that you are way beyond just this physical body, with a limited of five senses, that you are so much more than that, and that you are multifaceted, multidimensional, and really the truth is that you're one with everything. So we are of one divine mind, if you will, one divine consciousness. There are layers, there are frequencies, There are a myriad of worlds and experiences. I mean, it's just, beyond our comprehension. But the bottom line is that we are all part of that. And no matter where we are in our abilities or consciousness, our evolving consciousness, our evolving awareness, is that the fact is that we are connected to all that is. And so we most certainly hold the divine within us. That is our key. And the cornerstone of who we are, who our true identity is that we hold the divine spark within us. Not necessarily all life forms have some level of it, but we do hold what is in Kabbalah known as the higher Adman Kadman, the divine human, okay, from a very, very high aeon, a very high aeon. Now, that part of us exists even though we are fallen into a density physical material world. So let's just say that there are other layers or higher layers of things that have an agenda. So I'm just going to make it real simple. One is called the service to self, and the other is service to others. So the service to self, and there's many ancient stories as to what happened and how the fall happened, and that you can research yourself. But basically, is that things were moving along, and then something happened. Instead of God's will, God's will, then the little ego or a smaller demigod said, "No, my will." So that's when sort of a split happen. So we have to be cognizant of the fact that there is that lower vibration or the vibration that is not attuned to God's will or the divine will. And so there has been throughout time between these two polarities, if you will, this back and forth. People call it the proverbial good and evil, all of that stuff. But there is this dynamic of back and forth. You could put different sentiments and names to it. But basically it's a duality. And so, but ideally what comes is that we are going to come into that singularity, and the singularity is love. That's what it is. What the universe is made from. Maybe the further away, from this emanation of this love or light, that caused this separation. Who knows? But the bottom line is that here we are in this world of duality, and some of the thoughts that are not your own is coming from a source perhaps outside of yourself. It can be inspirational. Okay, that's where, like the angels or the saints or higher part of yourself is bringing in information that's for your benefit. Is for your benefit. And that's where you develop your intuition. And we all have psychic abilities as you begin to, develop that in the unique way that is expressed in you. You become more aware. So whether it comes into dreams or you have a sense of knowingness, whichever way that may come to you, there's a tingling in your fingers, there's different ways that this may manifest itself. It's like as you begin to develop a language code, a language code that's operating this higher level, even as you're here on this level. And so, how and discern, okay, that, all of a sudden, inspiration, an idea comes in, a solution comes in, or the idea of a fleeting thought, that you are loved, it's okay, a sense of comfort, a sense of grace, a sense of joy, upliftment. That is your knowing coming from the service to others, or the higher service to other, whether that may be a departed loved one, or it can be an angelic being or an ascended master. Let's just say it comes from the tribe or the family of light. That's inspirational to you. It's uplifting to you. Now, we also have, okay, the service to the agenda of the service to self, or what I want to call the anti-human. Okay, that is where it's not so inspirational. And this is what I want to tell people, particularly now, because it's easy and has been easy to get depressed out there. There's been a lot of challenges out there. People are grieving, people are not feeling well. The list goes on and on and on. It's just the way, it is in our world at the moment. And it is depressing on so many levels. There is the gnashing of teeth and just trauma that's just unbelievable. We could all agree and say what's going on. We could just lump that into an anti-human dynamic that's taken place on the planet. And there's a couple of layers. The other day, I just felt agitated. I mean, just agitated. I was upset by my own thoughts. And when I realized, I said, wait a minute. This is not me. This is not normally how I am. And I stopped myself from allowing these thoughts that were coming up with me, like stuff from a long time ago or things that I moved on from or have forgiven. And now it's like back again and I'm getting agitated. And I'm like, whoa, not me, not me. And I realize that one or two things are happening. I'm picking up, the agitation, the rage on the planet. We are empaths. So that can happen. And so if you find that that happens to you, you simply put the white light around you or whatever kind of spiritual discipline that you like that works for your divine protection. We always have to have the armor of God around us. Always, always, always. Ephesians 6 speak about this because we're dealing with principalities, we're dealing with energies, we're dealing with frequencies. So you always have to protect yourself, number one, on the collective unconscious of the humanity. And I guess we can agree and say it's not looking too great. There's a lot going on that's not that great. So, that's one layer of protection that's really important, but also being aware that there is an agenda. There is what I call the anti-human agenda or the service to self agenda that wants to remain in charge over this level of expression of life, that wants to be totally in charge and does not give the honor, understanding, and really now on so many levels, they're not even aware of it. They're not even aware of it, but it's the higher divine plan, the higher will of the divine. Okay, that's the one that everybody should be going on. And as I said, the splinter group or whatever, fallen angels, there's so many names for it, the watchers who fell, there's a lot of different stories to it, both in the East and the West, has like, we like being in charge and this is how we want to keep it. And so there is an agenda, there is a um, motivation to keep humans, under the illusion that we're separate from one another and thereby we war with one another. They use different things as politics and religion and, ideologies and so forth, to push forward that agenda and the manipulation of humans. We do have the higher parts of ourselves, but we do have the lower parts of ourselves. And so the lower part of ourselves or the animal body, there's different names that you could call it. It has the desires, wants instant gratification. Usually there's a price to pay when you fall into those lower vibrations. And you make yourself more open to the influence of this negative agenda. And one of the things that I have seen, and that I want to bring to everybody's attention is that, yeah, on this level, it is challenging and people can easily get depressed or want to go ahead and have, a couple of drinks or maybe some recreational drugs or whatever, just to kind of say, I just want to escape for a moment, but sometimes that escape can become addiction. And then I just want to tell you that opens up the road, okay, for this anti-human service to self, agenda to take hold. There are entities, just we are spiritual entities. There's entities out there that are opportunist, and their agenda is like, yeah, we want to keep things in chaos, and they get off on the suffering of humanity and get enjoyment out of seeing us destroying ourselves. It's like they're looking like, hey, look at this. It's not encouraging, it's not uplifting, it's not loving, it's none of those things. So the minute you start, and I have seen this, and I want to get this message out here because I've seen it happen with some of the highest light workers. It's just mind-boggling that they could get into a point of depression, real depression. Okay. And not to take away from the fact that if somebody is really that depressed, you should see about getting some clinical help, but also the spiritual discernment where if you're depressed and you're now getting these lower vibrations like you're not worthy, why are you even on the planet? Nobody would miss you anyway. You're the only one that's like this. You're the failure. Everybody else is doing fine, which of course is the biggest lie because we're all going through the same thing. But when a person feels alone, when they think that they're the only ones that have messed up, okay, everybody else on the planet is perfect and they're going on with their life except me. And that is the first delusion, is that no, you're not the only one. But more importantly, is that there is this sense of isolation, this sense of doom, this sense of, loss of hope, okay, loss of inspiration. Now, all of us can be there at one point or the other in our lives, okay, but ideally we have it within us to get ourselves out of that. It's temporary. But I want to say now there is a focused attention, okay, on getting humans. Okay, you have the lower astral plane, not that far from us. You have those distorted entities that are just as confused, and they are falling into the lower vibrations. And as they say, misery likes company. Misery likes company. So hey, we want everybody to be miserable just like us. And so they prey upon those humans who may become susceptible because they're having a bad moment, or they had some sort of trauma, or they're going through some sort of grief, or they have, open to where a sense of hopelessness. And so they're drinking, or, they're doing other things to try to numb the pain. That is when you become wide open for these entities to start sending negative, low vibrational thought forms to you. You start thinking about things that you don't normally think of. Okay, that's how you know that, hey, I don't think these thoughts are coming from me. Number one, it's not your thoughts. And so you don't hold on to those thoughts if they're not coming from you. In fact, you have so much power that you can say, like how I did. I was just getting agitating. Nobody was agitating me. It was all going on in my own head. And I'm just saying, there's something here. This is not me. This is not me. This is something else that's doing this. And I said, stop, stop. I'm able to discern that this is not coming from me. And go. You have to go. And you could say it, you have to go and, in the name of whoever, Jesus the Christ or Saint Michael, or, whatever holy vibration that you hold to for yourself, the divine mother. It doesn't matter. You're coming from the family of light, that you have to go. Guess what has to go? Has to go. It stopped. I stopped it. I stopped it. It could have gone on and agitate my own self, have my own the adrenaline start to pump into my body, then everything starts going wrong. If you're agitated, right? I'm sure everybody can understand, and you're going about your day-to-day activities, then everything starts going wrong. Computer isn't working, all of that. So just bring into the attention, because there's a lot going on the planet. There's going to be a lot more going on. We have to know how to prepare ourselves, prepare our hearts. We need to know how to discern what is our thoughts, what is inspiration coming from our family of light, and we also have to discern what is not coming for our best interest. We have to be real clever on that one and not allow it to influence us. And, if somebody is down and depressed or grieving, then reach out, because most people think that they're the only one, it's hopeless. Just like it, there's never anything that's hopeless. Never, ever, 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 ever. Because you just have to remember that, yes, miracles do happen, but become discerning. We are the family of light, and we can be open to these influences because they're not happy that we're here, working on the Ascension program, because that's going to get them smaller and smaller and smaller. But anyway, that's what we're here to do. So just put on your protective armor of light, know who you are and how powerful you are. And with that, I will say namaste to our Facebook Live family of light. We will see you next Monday. Namaste. Okay, everybody, it's good to see everybody that is here. I think everybody here has been here before. If I missed, I think everybody is here. Yeah, great to see. If anybody is here for the first time, just type inside the chat box for me and let me know if this is your very first time. I think everybody has been here before. Okay, so that was our little chat. We're going to get started. Um, as I mentioned, I'm going to be working with this beautiful rose quartz, very special to me. My first time, Natty. Okay, Natty. Welcome, welcome. So happy that you're here and sharing your light. And for Nanny, and just as a review for everybody else, what it is, we come together as the family of light. You could say that we are the boots on the ground. We are all part of the spiritual hierarchy. We work with the higher spiritual realms of light and those entities, whether you call them ascended masters, you call them angels, you call them saints. We're all part of the what would be known as the divine plan, the divine will of God. And we come here to bring light to darkness. And as we walk our own personal path, and when we come together, like we do now, connected in the heart and the mind, to serve the divine, to serve it as our love of God that we are here to serve. And in this capacity, we then make a connection or a link. If we could see, we would see the most amazing colors, geometries, and tones, because we vibrate on many higher levels. It's like a radar going out where others, beings of light see our light, because we're bringing our light, our service to God, and they join in. And then all different things can happen depending on what the needs are, and also who is part of the anchoring light for that particular Monday, because there's no exact anchoring light participants that's it's all the time. So it depends on who shows up, how the experience is going to be. So you are very much integrated into how the experience is. The last thought that you had or inspiration you had, or dynamic, that all comes into the pot, and then it all goes into this higher levels, and we make that connection with the ascendant realms of light. And sometimes, we get initiated. That happened recently, or we hold space for higher dimensional light to move upon the planet or beyond the planet. We just don't know. But whatever it is, we are in service, and we are blessed beyond measure, because we are graced with this energy that comes through. So welcome again, Natty. So I'm going to be working with this rose quartz crystal that knows that, rose quartz is known to hold and anchor love, unconditional love. And we so need that right now. I want to mention to everybody, as I did last month, that on the 6th of June, there's going to be a special mystical ceremony and well, unlike the other one, this is a little different, because we have been getting the energy of the seraphim, and the seraphim, very high, 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 high beings, okay, that sing around the throne. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Sabaoth. So it's going to be singing with the seraphim. And the idea behind that, of course, is always to prevent war. we have, light workers have been holding back World War III, that timeline, and we have to just stick with it, because that is something that is just itching, as I said, the service to self is trying to make happen. And we're going to ascend, and yes, there's going to be changes, but it doesn't have to be that choppy. We could do it in a less violent, suffering way. So that's what I'm rooting for, and that we can do that by at least mitigating some of the dynamics of those, thought forms of war and suffering and that sort of thing. So we have to, um, we're going to do another one on the 6th of June. I'll send information out. I hope to do that this week. So you'll get information about that if you're interested in participating. It'll be physically at the Cosmic Center Spiritual Light, which is located in Sarasota, Florida. It will also be on Zoom.